Okay, everyone. So I'm gonna make another video here. I was gonna make a video today about these books I'm reading, but I didn't finish them yet. So I'm gonna do that tomorrow. I will finish these books tomorrow. I spent the whole day painting today, and by dumb luck, my brother's girlfriend invited me to go to this art walk thing where they have all this local vendors sell their stuff. So I got to see a whole bunch of art today, which is really nice because I was really getting frustrated with the painting I'm working on. And so I went and walked around and looked at different people's art, and that gave me a lot of ideas. Um, but the one thing that really stuck in my mind, as a person, as a human being who spends a lot of time thinking about, race, sex, class, stratification, poverty, these sorts of things, politics. The one thing I noticed is that none of the art was politically influenced in any way, shape, or form. I mean, like zero. It's Louisiana, so it's overwhelmingly like these little like fleur de lis kind of things, or Mardi Gras, or stuff like that. There was a lot of that. Not all of it was that, but a lot of it was that. I would say like 75% of it was that. The other thing I noticed is that the entire group of people who were at the art shows were overwhelmingly um, white people, rich white people. People, I mean, obviously, because who would be the people who could afford to drop $300 on a painting? Some of these paintings were like, so a few were like 100, but most were in the 200, 300 range, and then some of them were like, you know, $1,000, $2,000, $3,000. I spoke. There was actually one set of paintings from this one woman. Her paintings were $3,000, and all of her paintings were these beautiful landscape paintings with like each little leaf being cut out like a newspaper and colored, and she pasted them everywhere. I mean, it must have took a whole lot of time to make these paintings. And then her bio actually said, and I'm not kidding, I just love watching. So all of her paintings were like these beautiful paintings, get lots of reds and greens, leaves, and then it was like black faces with like red lips on like clothing, because it was a mixed models kind of thing. So she had like actual cloth for the clothing she like had on the canvas. But all the pictures are black people. Okay, they're all black people with red lips, doing things like plowing or in a boat or something like that. So eventually she showed up to the arts thing. So I decided to go and ask her like, what is this about? Like, so I read her bio and it said, I just love watching the happy natives playing in their idyllic scenery. I mean, when I read this, I actually it really caught me off guard because I was like, there's no way no one else read this and didn't think something was offensive about this. And then so I went up to this woman who was like serving wine, and I asked her, I was like, "Did you read this? Like, what is this about?" And she immediately thought I took it as racist. So she took me to a back room, and then she showed me a bunch of other paintings that apparently other people had told her that they thought were racist. So she had a whole list of paintings. It was really funny. None of the paintings were racist at all. It's just that apparently other people must have told her that, and so she must have taken them down or something like that. But we had a big conversation about that, which I never even used the word racist to describe these paintings. I was just very curious. I said, this is really interesting. There's these beautiful landscape paintings, but the people they're all the same. They're just black people with red lips. Okay, what is that about? Okay. And they're doing things like boating and they're dancing and they're dressed in a sort of exotic kind of ways, very African sort of ways. So what is this about? So anyway, the artist showed up later, and then we had a really nice conversation. And it turns out she hasn't been doing this all very, very long, and she's very, very good at it, and lucky. So I don't know. It gave me a lot of ideas about what to do with my own art. The one thing I really kind of started to see is that art is very subjective, and so you're really free to express anything you want, really. So I shouldn't. I'm killing myself right now trying to make literal representations of things. A lot of my artwork is um, lately faces. Um, so I'm trying to do very literal faces, and um, most patterns. Patterns are a big thing in my artwork as well. But this project I'm working on right now is really taking all this to a new level, which I will show it to all of you when the time comes because it's got a lot of work to do. But I got a lot of really good ideas. But the thing is that, like I said, everyone at this art thing was overwhelmingly white people, wealthy people, wealthy enough white people who can afford to shell out that much money to buy art. It out of all the galleries I went to, I saw one black woman, very light skinned also, whatever. I saw one black woman. That's it. Not to mention, I was there with my brother and his girlfriend, who, like I told you, my brother is my brother's black, and his girlfriend, not my girlfriend, his girlfriend is white, and we had a big conversation. We quickly noticed that there were lots of people kind of giving us funny stares as well. To which my reply was, well, just imagine if you were black and white, and you were both two boys holding hands, and that would be my life right there. Okay, imagine what it would be like if that happened. I can tell you stories of things that have happened to me, but so I don't know. So one of the things I was thinking with this art thing is that I could make money doing this. I could make enough paintings and I could sell it for money. Except that I'm starting to think, well, but who am I selling this art to? Is I'm selling this art to people who, I'm selling this art for rich white people. And I'm sorry, and I got to be careful what I say on this YouTube channel because I'm worried about me getting caught saying something offensive at some point, but or saying something that someone will object to anyway, not offensive, but someone might object to what I say, and then lose me my job or something like that. That happens now. But I'm worried, as a person, as a sociologist, as someone who's studying to become a sociologist, as someone who constantly focuses on the social world and social stratification, race, gender, sex, class, someone who constantly complains about racist capitalist patriarchy, I don't know how I feel about selling art to rich white men. I never really thought about the connection between the two until I went to this art exhibit, because this art exhibit turned my painting into a social thing, and now I'm realizing that ultimately my art is going to have to fall into the world we live in, and the world we live in is racist, sexist, and classist. So this makes me feel very off, because I put my heart into this stuff. Like, it's my new passion, and not only is it my new passion, but I see this as being like the thing I'm gonna spend the rest of my life working on. Okay, so I mean, I had an amazing thing just happened to my life in the last 3 months, and I don't know how I feel about. Well, I guess maybe if I do really well with this, I can be more selective in my clients, but in the beginning, I gotta sell my art to whoever wants it, and I don't know how I feel about selling my art to a bunch of rich white people. I also don't know how I feel about I was there for maybe 10 minutes, walked around, and left. If I had to sit there all day and sell my stuff and talk to these people, like, I think I would have been really annoyed. And like I said, none of the art that was there was political in any way, shape, or form. So the painting I'm working on right now. Hold on. The painting I'm working on right now, okay, that thing in the back over there, okay, it's Jesus Christ as a car tire, and three wise men as three mechanics, and one of the wise men is Hugo Chavez, and the other wise man is actually Little John with a crunk cup. So, so I just don't know if necessarily. I guess I'd have to find a place that was my niche for my art, because otherwise no one's gonna want to buy my art unless I paint really, really simplistic, stupid stuff of like flowers and trees and things like that. But there's not there's things to learn from painting flowers and trees too, I guess. But anyway, so all that happened, and it's been in my mind right now. But to tie this to something larger, very soon I'm going to start reading books. I love books. This book, which is Bourdieu's, I think, important main work. It's called The Social Critique of the Judgment of Taste Distinction. So I haven't read it yet, but I did glance through it a bunch of times, and there's a bunch of graphs. And from the graphs, just looking at the graphs alone, I've pretty much guessed what the premise of this book is, which is that people of different social classes profess different tastes, have different tastes, or different styles of art, books, music, what's considered acceptable for your social class. And your social class is connected to your economic class and your
social capital of people you know, or your level of education, knowledge, that kind of thing. So I haven't even read the book yet. And I already figured that out. Thank God. But I'm gonna read it. I'm gonna read the whole thing. So, what's considered good art is often what's considered, in some ways, rich art. Or very, very avant-garde, and certain people with a lot of money will pay for it. So, in order for something to really be considered high art, someone has to be willing to pay a bunch of money for it. So, I don't know. That just a final sociological thought there. You all might want to delve upon. But tomorrow I'll make this video about the books I'm reading.